Some people want to see actions in the games they play that they could never experience in real life, and they enjoy this. Some people play games to experience the fear they can't get from movies. In any case, games allow people to have a good time. However, some games present an expression of the perversion within the producer. In this iceberg, we will look at games ranging from normal horror games to disturbing ones, some of which are even banned. Let's move on to the first layer. Fnaf is a horror game where we try to survive against animatronic robots as a security guard for a certain period. It gets more difficult as the days go by. The part that makes the game truly terrifying is timeless: the jump scares. Personally, I tried playing it when I was little. After getting scared by a few jump scares, I closed it. For years, it has been a black mark in my game collection. Sitting there, if I ever reach the right mental level to play it in the future, I will finish it. Outlast. This game scares with its jump scares like Fnaf. The game's story revolves around Miles, a freelance investigative journalist. Miles decides to investigate Mount Massive Asylum, a remote psychiatric hospital located deep in the mountains of Lake County, Colorado. However, this hospital has been taken over by patients who have committed murder. Miles learns this fact once he enters the hospital, and throughout the game he tries to record the hospital's horrifying secrets with his camera to alert the outside world. The second layer, the Void. In a strange world similar to Limbo, you try to survive. You have no information about who you are or why you are here. The only thing you know is that a sister, a girl who saved your soul from death, taught you what you need to do to survive. By helping the other sisters, you try not to die here. But in this world, everyone is selfish and deceitful. While the sisters manipulate you for their own purposes, which one of them can you trust? And what will you do if the brothers try to resurface again? Lucius is a horror game developed by the Shiver Games and released in 2012. Lucius, a little boy. We control Lucius. His family is quite wealthy and powerful. However, Lucius awakens his demonic powers, and the player's goal is to execute the people entering the mansion using these powers in various ways. Manhunt is an action horror game made and published by Rockstar Games. The game tells the story of James Earl Cash, a convicted killer forced to participate in a violent reality TV show that requires him to hunt and kill other convicted murderers. The game made a big impact in those years. Not because it was very good. The game is good, but its fame is not due to its quality. This game? It caught the attention of the world media because it contained excessive violence. They even considered banning games just because of this game. The labels you see now, like 13+ and 18+, were introduced because of this game. The game was harshly criticized by many different media outlets, especially due to scenes of beheading, dismemberment, and shooting. The reason some publishers had such a harsh stance against the game was that the majority of its audience consisted of young people. Third layer. The Cat Lady. The game tells the story of a lonely woman who has given up on life and eventually attempts suicide. However, you don't learn the reason for her unhappiness until the end of the game. Throughout the game, the woman's depressive. Mood is conveyed so effectively through symbolically depicted psychological elements, realistically crafted side characters, and the dialogues with them. The game creates a psychological weight on the player by fostering empathy with the character. Leaves. Especially in the scenes with the psychiatrist, you feel as if you are actually attending a session. Because the conversation dialogues are prepared in a multiple choice format, you can now choose the response that suits your own mood. Additionally, the side characters in the game include a drug-addicted girl, a nurse with a chatterbox problem, a roommate with cancer, and her boyfriend who committed suicide. Characters you might encounter in real life as well. Besides these, throughout the game, we also have to fight against serial killers and all kinds of psychopaths that we need to eliminate. The game's graphics and character designs are also quite unusual. I have no mouth and I must scream. 4 humans are chosen by a supercomputer and subjected to a series of tests in computer reality. They are put through tests. The dark part is that in these tests, the quartet is electrocuted, burned, frozen, but kept alive. You, on the other hand, choose one of these 4 characters and try to escape from this game of hide and seek, finish the game, and escape from this computer simulation. The characters were not chosen randomly either. One is a murderer, another is a woman who has been raped, another is a doctor who tortured people in Nazi Germany. The last one is the straight man. Of course, at first you don't choose based on this and you don't learn it. Gradually, things start to fall into place. For example, the woman who has been raped. She has panic attacks when she sees yellow objects because she was attacked by a man wearing yellow. The other German doctor is disturbed by fire because he threw Jews into the furnace. I won't say what happens next. For those who want to play, the game has several different endings. You determine what will happen to these characters. Rules of Rose, a game that was played very poorly and forgotten without being able to tell its magnificent story due to its presentation. It had a very solid story with surprises that left an impact like Fight Club, and it was of a quality that could easily be adapted into a movie. In a moment I will summarize the story in full detail, first as it is presented to the player and then as it actually is, which is completely a spoiler. I summarized it thoroughly with all the details. If you are considering playing the game, you can skip this part. In 1930, a 19-year-old girl named Jennifer is traveling at night on a deserted road in a bus with only one other passenger besides herself and the driver, a little boy. However, Jennifer doesn't have much knowledge about what is happening. The boy hands the girl a book and then disappears. And as Jennifer gets off the bus and follows the boy, she arrives at an orphanage. Following the clues, she discovers a buried coffin in the orphanage garden, stained with blood inside. As soon as she uncovers the sack, she is quickly locked inside the coffin by the other children. Terrified and fainting, Jennifer wakes up to find herself in a giant zeppelin. The cruel children of the orphanage have formed an aristocratic group in this abandoned and eerie zeppelin, and everyone must adhere to the rules of this club. Each month, the club announces a specific item and demands that everyone bring one of these items. As the last person to join the club, Jennifer is at the bottom of the hierarchy and everyone treats her very poorly in a way that no one can understand. The leader of the club is nicknamed the Red Rose Princess, and her identity is kept as a secret. Additionally, according to the story told by the princess, everyone must do their part and clean up the place. Otherwise, the big street dog will come, sweep up the naughty children like trash, and devour them. All the children are frightened by this story, and obey the princess's word. Ranked just below the princess, Diana, who wishes to grow up in order but is afraid of growing up and is the oldest among them, desires to escape the orphanage like the bird she carries in a cage, known as Stone-Hearted Eleanor. Wise Mac, who sets the club's rules and determines the punishments for those who do not follow them. At the same time, Diana harbors a secret and forbidden love until Jennifer arrives. At the bottom of the group is the neurotic German, who lacks self-confidence due to his appearance. Zeppelin and the other individuals who confront Jennifer, the orphanage director, Mr. Hoffman, 16-year-old Clara, who is often seen alongside the director, the orphanage's cook and cleaner Miss Carroll, and Gregor Wilson, a mysterious man living near the orphanage. There is also Wendy, the only person who treats Jennifer well, along with a few boys, and who is constantly falling ill and bedridden. While Jennifer is running around in the Zeppelin, she finds a dog tied by its feet and mouth hanging upside down from the ceiling, and rescues it. And from that moment on, this dog named Brown becomes her only friend in this nightmare. Together, they set out to find the items announced by the Aristocracy Club every month. Meanwhile, Jennifer reads a series of storybooks using the scattered clues around her. Slowly happy. She begins to remember her memories again and frequently gets attacked by strange creatures. Amidst these tides, Jennifer finds herself at one point in the house of the mysterious Mr. Wilson near the orphanage. The house is filled with the boy's belongings everywhere. However, the boy is nowhere to be seen. Jennifer, Mr. Wilson's and the missing boy's belongings. When you read the man's diary, you see that his child's name is Joshua, that he had been very ill some time ago, and that he was probably killed. She learns. Moreover, Joshua is the boy who directed Jennifer to the orphanage from the bus. In Joshua's room, Jennifer also finds a newspaper with a headline about a Zeppelin disappearing during its maiden voyage, and she finds a series of letters. Mr. Wilson catches Jennifer and locks her in Joshua's room. Unable to get out, Jennifer glances through the letters. She learns that Joshua lived locked in this room and that a girl named Wendy, who saw him from the window, fell in love with him and rescued him. Joshua and Wendy also made a vow called the Rule of Rose, promising to love each other forever. While struggling with terrifying events and inexplicable nightmares, Jennifer once again opens her eyes in the orphanage. The Zeppelin has disappeared, as has her loyal companion Brown. While searching for her dog, Jennifer learns that she is this month's item for the Aristocracy Club. Meanwhile, the entire orphanage is overrun with creatures trying to capture Jennifer. As Jennifer tries to escape from the creatures, a growing concern about the fate of her missing dog begins to surface. When she arrives at the club's headquarters, she finds the aristocrats gathered together. The identity-hidden Red Rose Princess finally reveals her face. Their leader is none other than Wendy, who is constantly ill. Jennifer's memory largely returns, and she suddenly transforms from her 19-year-old self back into the little girl she was years ago. Jennifer begins to cry, beating Wendy, who is responsible for the group's tortures on her and the apparent death of her dog, Brown, for all the things she did to the orphans. But most of all, she shouts that she hates herself for not having the courage to stand up to them and for being complicit in their games. At this point, Jennifer realizes that all the creatures she saw and the Zeppelin are actually just a fantasy world she created in her mind, resulting from the details that remained in her memory from her orphanage days. Wendy runs away crying, and Jennifer is declared the new princess. After quite some time has passed, one night, at the club, they organize a secret meeting again, hidden from the director, and they want their new princess Jennifer to preside over them. However, during the meeting, when they see Wendy playing in the garden, they are reminded of the giant that Wendy made up, who kidnaps and eats children. The story of the stray dog comes to mind, and they run to the garden to mock it. As Jennifer prepares to follow them, screams and groans come from the garden. Mr. Wilson, walking on all fours like a dog, with a rope hanging from his neck held by Joshua, bursts into the orphanage. Joshua has lost his mind. Mr. Wilson, behaving like a dog, is unleashed on Jennifer. However, Broom comes to her rescue, and Jennifer throws herself into the garden with the foam. Here, she finds the clothes of the children from the orphanage scattered around, but the children are nowhere to be seen. Then Joshua comes out, and when he sheds his clothes, it turns out he is actually Wendy. Wendy, Mr. Wilson's deceased son's clothes and acting like Joshua, causes the grieving man to lose his mind. She has trained him like a giant street dog. Mr. Wilson gives Jennifer the gun he stole from his house and, apologizing, asks her to kill the man. Mr. Wilson comes out into the garden on 4 wheels and, realizing that he is not Wendy's son, kills her as well. Afterwards, Jennifer begs him to give her the gun. When Jennifer gets the gun, she shoots herself in the head, committing suicide. With Wilson's death, Jennifer wakes up once again as a little girl in the orphanage. Now she remembers the past fully and relives her childhood in her memories. It is a sunny, clear day, but the other children are not around. Only their voices can be heard from a distance. As Jennifer wanders through the empty orphanage and examines the belongings, everything that actually happened unfolds in her mind. Years ago, a luxury passenger Zeppelin took off from England and disappeared in the air on its first journey to India. Eventually, when it landed, Jennifer was the only person who survived the Zeppelin. However, she was severely injured after the accident and lost her memory. Wilson, who lived near the Rose Garden orphanage, found Jennifer, brought her to his home, and nursed her back to health. However, Mr. Wilson did not allow Jennifer to leave, dressing her in his deceased son Joshua's clothes and locking her in a room. Since Jennifer remembers nothing, the only thing she knows is that this man saved her and she secretly pities him. One day, Wendy, an orphan wandering around the house, sees Jennifer through the window. And from then on, she comes to visit her every day. A romance begins between the two as they start writing letters to each other. In their relationship, Jennifer is the prince and Wendy is the princess, and Wendy decides to elope with Jennifer. Jennifer, Mr. Wilson, although she feels guilty about leaving him, agrees to escape and live with Wendy in the orphanage. However, Wendy frequently falls ill and stays in the infirmary at the orphanage, and she doesn't like Jennifer spending time with anyone else. Therefore, she ensures that the other children give Jennifer the cold shoulder. This way, Jennifer will only find peace with her. But on one of those days, Jennifer finds a puppy near the orphanage, and she starts to take care of it. When Wendy finds out, she is not pleased at all, and fearing it might come between them, she wants the dog gone immediately. Jennifer refuses to do so, and even though she offers to take care of it together, Wendy's jealousy grows day by day, and her hatred towards Jennifer and the dog increases progressively. As the leader of the aristocracy club, she makes Jennifer's life a living hell. However, Jennifer and Brown become friends and overcome everything together. In the end, when Wendy announces Jennifer and her dog as the item of the month, Jennifer is given 2 options. She will allow the children to either bury her or the dog. Terrified, Jennifer agrees to let the dog be buried. However, the regret of what she has done soon hits Jennifer. Devastated by her dog's death, she stands up to the other children and leaves the club. Her friendship with Wendy is destroyed forever. Wendy's leadership also ends with this incident. The orphanage director, after the recent events that further disturbed the peace at the orphanage with Jennifer's arrival, suddenly packs up and leaves one night. Afterwards, the staff leaves and the orphanage is left completely empty. Mr. Wendy is treated like her dead son Joshua and trained like a dog by the mentally unstable Mr. Wilson to the orphanage. And she begins to teach the aristocracy club a lesson by enacting the great street dog story. However, Mr. Wilson, who goes out of control, kills all the children, and stubbornly, Jennifer once again becomes the only person to survive a great tragedy. Jennifer, who loses her entire sense of self due to the successive traumas she experiences, she takes refuge in a false but positive memory she created in her mind. She is in the orphanage garden on a sunny day. She encounters Wendy, but she closes the iron bars in front of her face, not allowing her to follow. Mr. Wilson is sitting at the bus stop in front of the orphanage. She sees her son writing a story and leaves him behind without paying attention to him. Finally, she finds a puppy in the barn near the orphanage. However, she ties it to a post in the barn to secretly feed it away from everyone and vows to protect and love it until it dies. She makes the Rose Oath, which she calls the Rule of Rose. Postal. This game, along with Manhunt, almost led to the closure of the gaming world. In this game, unlike others, you are not trying to save the world or seek revenge. In fact, there isn't even a villain, except for you. In the game, you can kill civilians with various creative weapons, in various ways. The most controversial part is in one of the missions in the game, going to a kindergarten and burning the innocent and unaware children there with your flamethrower, the coffin of leyley. This game is relatively newer than the others. It was released last year. In the game, we have two main characters. They are Andrew and Leyley. These two are siblings and have been locked in the same house. Because a pandemic has broken out across the country and the government is forcibly quarantining people in their homes. Occasionally, they send food to the apartments through officials. Our story begins with the delay in the delivery of supplies to the apartment of these two siblings. They are desperate as they have been hungry for about 1 or 2 weeks. They move to the next apartment through the balcony. They encounter the corpse of their recently deceased neighbor, who died while committing treachery. Although Andrew hesitates at first, Leyley convinces him, and they eat their neighbor's flesh. Throughout the story, Leyley constantly makes provocative and disturbing remarks to her brother. Leyley secretly harbors romantic feelings for her brother, and does not hesitate to express them. Additionally, her brother feels the same way about her, but he does not express it. The reason this game is on the list and has sparked controversy is the incestuous relationship between the two. Hatred. This is a game similar to Postal. Our main character harbors a deep hatred towards people, therefore he wants to destroy them. Various weapons assist him in this adventure. Let me read a line from the main character at the beginning of the game. It doesn't matter what the man is. What matters is what I will do. I hate this world and the human worms that feed on its carcass. My entire life is nothing but cold, bitter hatred. And I have always wanted to die in a painful way. This is the time for revenge and no life is worth saving. I will put as many as I can into the grave. It's time for me to kill and be killed. JFK, reload. In short, we are reenacting the assassination of US President Kennedy. Fifth layer, Satan. The internet is a vast, boundless, unknown place. Yours and mine. The parts we interact with daily are actually a very small part of what floats there. The internet can get deeper and darker. It is said that there is a game in the deep corners of the internet. Its name is Sad Satan, and it is a horror game unlike any I have encountered before. Sad Satan cannot be purchased from local tech stores, nor downloaded digitally from stores like Steam. Allegedly, it can only be downloaded through tools that can access the hidden depths of the internet, like Tor. Recently, Jemmy, the owner of a YouTube channel, dived into the deep web to download a mysterious game. And there, he encountered this game called Seth Satan. He got the game and also recorded a video of it. No one knows what kind of mysteries it holds inside. Maybe there are issues with its music, or there is something in the subliminal images it shows. Lostboy.exe. This is another game said to have emerged from the deep web. In the game, we pass through corridors in a maze-like place. On some walls, and images related to Satanism and depictions of Jesus Christ appear. That's all there is to the game. But the main issue is that when this game is active, it steals your computer's data and transfers it to others. When the game is activated, a virus kicks in and steals every piece of information on the computer. They have tried to catch the person who made the game, but since it is on the deep web, they couldn't find them at all. Jesus Strikes Back is a third-person shooter game. You play as Jesus, Hitler, or Trump, and you shoot immigrants, homosexuals, trans people, Muslims, Jews, and every group that these American right-wingers dislike. Rapelay, a 3D anime, a rape game made by the Japanese game company Illusion. The aim of the game is to follow the chosen woman with a frog and rape her at an opportune moment. If she becomes pregnant, force her to have an abortion. If she refuses the abortion, then kill her. The more rapes, the more points. It is also possible to play online and form harassment gangs for mass rapes. So rape in Japan. I've heard that it's common, but it's disturbing that there's so much demand for it. Disturbing. The troubling part is that most players give it high ratings, like 8. Shita Iwo Arwa Yasaka was a poor student who wanted to become a doctor but couldn't afford medical school. He was working part-time at a university hospital while studying for the entrance exam next year. However, he was suddenly fired from his part-time job by Deputy Director Tsuyazaki Chigusa. He is shocked by this sudden event, and the woman gives him the only option left to continue working at the hospital. The job she prepared for him is washing corpses. Over time, as he does the job, his psychology will start to unravel, and as the game progresses, our main character Yasaka will become interested in the corpses sent for washing. This interest is more than simple curiosity. As time passes, Yasaka engages in some sexual interactions with the corpses. Yes, the video ended. The story of Rule of Frozen, which is the story of the game I enjoyed the most, was very nice. However, I can't say the same for the other games in the iceberg. Which game affected you the most? Especially the games in the last layer were really quite disturbing. If you liked the video, you can like and subscribe. You can also join our Discord and Reddit groups. Until the next video then. Goodbye.